Good afternoon, everybody. It's Garden of Eden here. Welcome to my review of Deoxynn, A Story of Fear and Insanity, or as I like to affectionately call it, Deboxyn, because of all the box puzzles that are in this game. It's like a rules card wet dream. I don't know what's going on in this game, but ultimately, this game had a lot of good puzzles in it. Some of them took me a little bit longer to figure out than I like to admit, but I like games with good puzzles. I like it when games have a good puzzle presence, and it has the good mind to sequester some of the harder ones to side areas. It doesn't ever bog the main game to any egregious extent. If there are harder ones, they are out there to seek out if you want them, but they're never going to really impede the main gameplay. And I think that that is a fair and perfect balance. And speaking of a fair and perfect balance, this game gets a 76 out of 100. This is a higher score than I expected to give this game. And that's not to say I expected this game to be terrible, but I don't expect to give a game a active recommendation. Yes, I recommend a person play this game. 80 is a must-play, meaning I strongly urge you to play it, but a 75 and above is just, if somebody asks me should I play this game, I'll be like, yes, it's a good game, I think you should play it. I think that's a fair score to give this game. There's a number of things that it does right, but there's also a number of things that it doesn't quite do correct, and I want to fairly touch on both of those specific aspects of the game. Number one of the game's strong highlights is that it actually utilizes the pacifist version very well. What I mean by that is one of my big vocal criticisms about the Deltarune TP and grazing system, and I've been vocal about this more recently, but I've been vocal about it in the past too, is that it only seems to favor neutral and genocide runs. If you're a pacifist player, you're not going to get any real benefit from the TP grazing system. You can shorten the move a couple of milliseconds, but there's no axe, there's no abilities that really call on the TP that you're acquiring, unless you want to heal yourself. Now, if you're a no-hitter, if you no-hit games, you don't really care about that. The only fight in the game, I guess fights that really take that into consideration, are Jevil, where you can hypnotize and pirouette, and Giga Queen, where if you graze certain of her moveset, you have the ability to access certain abilities during that fight, or the bosses at the end of the chapters where you can mandatory fight them, but you could also not fight them. So if you're going for a true pacifist experience, you're going to choose to not fight those bosses. So my point still stands. With pacifist versions of the games, traditionally, you're out of luck if you want something interesting to do with the TP you get. This game does something actually brilliant with it. Or at least it somewhat tries to. What it tries to do is that if you graze, it decreases your insanity meter, which naturally goes up each turn, and goes up quite a bit each time you're hit. That means that you have something to aspire to with the grazing system. You're encouraged to graze as much as you want, not just to shorten the moves or to just have swag strats, but to actually manage the symptoms that you're experiencing from the insanity. The downside is that HP becomes effectively useless. It's just kind of a number that happens to be there that just kind of serves as a guidepost. But if you take 2 hits in a fight, yeah, you're going to have enough HP to continue doing the fight, but your insanity is either going to have already broken the ceiling because you're going to get the insanity for each hit plus the insanity at the end of the round, or, you're going to have to breathe automatically. The game's incredibly punishing in that regard, and I feel that while it's made the pacifist version more interesting, it's also detracted from the value of what hit points are supposed to serve as a consequence. And so I feel like it's taking a good step, but it's also taking kind of a bad step at the same time. So, but it's one of the game's highlights. It's one of the game's main strengths, is that it has this unique take on the grazing system, which I happen to heavily enjoy. One of the other things that I think the game excels at is it has good, colorful areas, lots of fun flavor text. My favorite enemy in the game is the python in the cave because of the attack patterns and unique flavor text that it has. The snake attack, that was funny. That was really, really funny. I enjoyed that attack. I enjoyed it on stream live on Saturday, and I enjoy it now even thinking about it. The music is not this game's strong area. While I remember the title music, because I heard it a lot, and I think the title music's actually not bad, it's pretty decent. The battle music, I remember it because it's battle music that I've heard 9 million times before. I don't remember it because it's amazing or incredible, I remember it because it's something you have to remember, because you can't get it out of your head. I'm not going to say the music's bad. I'm just going to say the music, to me, is unfortunately forgettable. It's not something I'm going to go out of my way to find the soundtrack for. I think a lot of the fights, as far as boss designs and attack pattern designs, they're unique enough from each other. I actually enjoy the bosses very, very well. I did end up no-hitting them all. I didn't think I would go down that route with this game, especially having quit, but it really wasn't as bad to no-hit them, minus the secret boss. That was a little annoying, but I went through all of them, and they give you little unique achievement portraits whenever you beat the bosses. At least on the pacifist. I don't know if there's any unique for bosses to insanity. There may be, but I thought it was kind of cool that you got achievements in this game as well. There's also post-game content, just like Deltarune. You can walk around town and interact with individuals. There's a card game that looks like it was basically stolen from Bug Fables. Bug Fables had, like, the exact same card game. The exact same card game, only was a better card game. And I don't know if Bug Fables took that card game from another game. I just don't know if it's the circle of borrowing the game from other games. But I'm like, I played this in Bug Fables and it was better in Bug Fables. But it's still a fun game. It's still a fun card game. Let's talk about my criticisms, because I've alluded to the fact that this game has several flaws to it. Number one, we can see right over here. So, what is missing? What is missing from this game that should absolutely be here? If you answered a copy option for your file, you're 100% correct. Let me tell you why. So, with this particular game, let's say you want to save right before the secret boss of this game, the time stop mechanic and everything else. And you make a save there. Let's say you struggle and struggle and struggle, and you finally beat the boss. Congratulations, hooray, you get an achievement for that. And you also want to be like, you know what, I want to have a save right before this boss, just because I want to grind and no-hit it. I want to no-hit this boss, I want to get this done, but I want to continue the game for right now. I want to copy my file over so I can revisit that boss. Unless you do save file editing shenanigans, you don't have the ability to do that. That doesn't sound too terrible right now, but here's the thing. This is slated to be a multi-chapter game. This game is actively teasing in the post-game of this game the fact that there's going to be additional content, come back tomorrow, other stuff is going to happen. If you can't copy a file over, how in the world are you going to be ready for alternate routes? What if you want to take one file and take that single file and go two divergent directions? At the present time, you don't have the ability to do that. You're stuck with one file, meaning you either can continue your pacifist, or you can have to make a brand new file all the way through Chapter 1 and carry that over to Chapter 2 for the other route. And I don't think that's quite acceptable, but I also don't think anybody really thought to themselves, hey, you know what? There should be a copy option. I think it might have been overlooked. Maybe nobody that beta tested or play tested this thought to themselves that might be a useful feature. But it's just something, when I was interacting with the menu, I'm like, this is something that really needs to be in the game. Something else that really needs to be in the game, I'm going to show you right now. So, it took a while to load. I never took that long before, but here's the inventory. Now, we're missing one item to the right of the golden berry, so we have, right now, in inventory 5, normally it'd have 6 items. So, look at how big and spacious this inventory screen is. Any idea how many items can fit in here? Well, it looks like we can multiply the 3 rows. It looks like we can multiply the rows by 6, doesn't it? We have 3 on top, 3 on bottom. That's actually not correct. The most amount of items you can hold at any one time in this game happens to be 6. This is like the Resident Evil 1 of inventory sizes. I just don't know what's going on here, but 6 is unacceptable. You start with like 2 licorice and an apple juice. You inevitably buy the rotten potato from that one salesman. You end up buying the corn from the corn salesman. You get the rock candy from that one python that sells it in the cave, or not sells it, he gives it to you in the cave, and you're out of space. You're out of space. You can't pick up the golden berry. You can't pick up anything else in the game unless you drop or consume or do something else. I have no idea why the inventory size is 6. In Undertale, the inventory size was 8. In Deltarune, the inventory size was 12. There is no excuse for the inventory size in this game being 6 in size. This game also has a number of unfortunate glitches to it. One you can accidentally trigger pretty easily. If you get into an encounter, the exact same point as the transition to the next screen, you actually have a game crash occur. Now, one of those I intentionally tried to see if I could cause, and that's how I discovered it, and the other one happened by complete accident, as I was trying to escape a python that was chasing me in the cave whenever I was trying to backtrack to one of the doors for the flower, for the picking the flowers for the quest. That was notated in the game, and I accidentally got that, and I'm like, well, I guess I gotta restart the game now. That was really unfortunate. But outside of that, and a couple of there were unfortunate typos. I tend to point them out in every game because they tend to be in every game that I played as far as a fan game. But I think this game maybe had about 5 or 6 instances. I don't think it was too terribly egregious, but it was noticeable. But I'm a little bit different in that regard. It may not have been noticeable to the casual player, because the casual player probably doesn't sit there and read every piece of dialogue out loud when they play. I do, so that I catch more when I do it, so I don't know. But overall, those things really do need to be corrected. The inventory size is unacceptable, and the lack of being able to copy files is unacceptable. Though both of those features, by the time Chapter 2 needs to come out, by the time Chapter 2 comes out, really needs to be implemented in the game. I think to be able to have a more easily accessible experience with the game. But overall, 76 out of 100. I'm happy with the pacifist route I did. I enjoyed the world. I enjoyed the fights. I enjoyed, let me get to the... I enjoyed the achievements of being able to do all of these things. And of course, this... oh, it doesn't keep my... What? It didn't keep my wolf! It didn't keep the forest? Okay, well, there's another sin right there. You caught it live. I beat the game, and I guess it doesn't carry this over. It's lame. Alright, well, okay then. Fix that. Fix that as well. But in any event... I appreciate everybody watching, and I hope all of you have a good rest of your day. 76 out of 100. I've already scored the game. I'm not going to lower it just because of this, but I hope all of you have a good rest of your day.